Hi and welcome back to Free Science Lessons. By the end of this video, you should be able to describe the features of the endocrine system. You should then be able to describe how steroid hormones and non-steroid hormones lead to a response in cells. Okay, now the endocrine system consists of a number of different endocrine glands. I'm showing you some of the major endocrine glands in this diagram, and I should point out that you're not expected to learn all of these glands. However, we'll be looking in detail at the role of the adrenal glands and the pancreas in later videos. Now, all of the endocrine glands secrete hormones, and endocrine glands secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. Endocrine hormones travel around the body in the blood plasma. Now, different cells contain receptors for different hormones, and scientists refer to these cells as target cells. Some types of hormone receptors are found on the cell surface membrane, whereas other types of hormone receptors are found in the cytoplasm or the nucleus. And when each hormone attaches to its receptor, this triggers a response in the target cell. Now, the body also contains another category of glands. These are called exocrine glands. However, exocrine glands do not secrete hormones. Exocrine glands include the salivary glands and sweat glands. In contrast to endocrine glands, exocrine glands secrete chemicals through a duct, and these chemicals are not secreted into the bloodstream. For example, sweat is secreted onto the surface of the skin. Okay, so as we've seen, endocrine glands secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. Now, hormones are often referred to as chemical messengers, and many different types of chemicals can act as hormones. Many hormones are steroids, which are based on the chemical cholesterol. These include testosterone and estrogen. Many other hormones are proteins, for example insulin and glucagon. Some hormones are relatively short chains of amino acids, for example antidiuretic hormone, which consists of 9 amino acids. And some hormones are modified amino acids, such as adrenaline, which is derived from the amino acid tyrosine. In response to a stimulus, an endocrine gland is triggered to release its hormone into the bloodstream. And as we saw, each hormone binds to receptors at the target cells and triggers a response. Now, we can divide hormones into two broad groups. These are steroid hormones, such as testosterone and estrogen, and non-steroid hormones, such as insulin and adrenaline. These two groups of hormones differ in how they trigger a response in the target cells. We're going to look at steroid hormones first. Now, the key idea you need to understand is that receptors for steroid hormones are proteins found inside the cell, either in the cytoplasm or the nucleus. Steroid hormones are soluble in lipids. This means that steroid hormones can pass through the lipid part of the cell surface membrane. Inside the cell, steroid hormones bind to their receptor, forming a hormone receptor complex. The hormone receptor complex now moves into the nucleus and binds to the DNA. In the nucleus, the hormone receptor complex acts as a transcription factor. This means that it can activate transcription of specific genes, producing messenger RNA. The messenger RNA can then be translated, producing a specific polypeptide. Some steroid hormone receptor complexes inhibit transcription of certain genes, reducing the amount of specific polypeptides. Okay, now the other group of hormones are called non-steroid hormones, and adrenaline is an example of a non-steroid hormone. We'll be looking at detail at how adrenaline signals when we look at the fight or flight response in a later video. Now, unlike steroid hormones, non-steroid hormones are hydrophilic. This means that non-steroid hormones cannot pass through the cell surface membrane into the cytoplasm. Instead, target cells for non-steroid hormones have receptors on the cell surface membrane. When a non-steroid hormone binds to its receptor, it forms a hormone receptor complex. This activates enzymes within the cell, and these enzymes catalyze the production of chemicals called second messengers in the cell cytoplasm. A good example of a second messenger is cyclic AMP. The second messenger molecules now trigger a cascade of reactions within the cell, and this leads to the cell's response. Now, signaling via the endocrine system is much slower than signaling through the nervous system. However, the response to endocrine hormones is usually much longer lasting than the response triggered by the nervous system. In the next video, we look at the structure and function of the adrenal glands.